Hello everybody, AJ Ryzik here, and today I've got another lightweight web browser video. If you saw the last one, we looked at, you can look at my list here, we looked at Dillo, we looked at Midori. I'm going to skip Epiphany because it just doesn't work well on my machine. It crashes, something fierce, and freezes up and whatnot. So we won't be looking at Epiphany, but we are going to start today with looking at Netsurf. And let me drag this over here, open it up, and you can see nice clean interface. Toolbar right here. It is easy to go and add more options to the toolbar just by right clicking here, go into tool, where is it? No, customize, that's what I want. Yeah. And then you can just go and you can pull stuff off of there, or you can add stuff as you want, wherever you want on the, how you set it up. Click apply, and boom, there you go. Now we have a print button on our toolbar. You can see you got a fair number of options as far as what you want for our web searches. It's by default it's set up with Google, but there's a lot of other options as well. And searching is fairly quick. And you see the search is fairly quick. Rendering web pages is fairly quick as well. Most pages render properly. Let's go to this one here. It looks like, at least for the most part, pictures, videos, that sort of thing is rendering correctly. Where you run into problems, though, is YouTube. You cannot watch YouTube videos on here. Click on a video. Not only does the page not render correctly, but it just doesn't play. So you're kind of screwed if you want to watch YouTube videos. So definitely pick a different browser for that. But for general searching, web browsing, that sort of thing, this web browser seems to work really good. If you come here to edit, we've got our preferences right here. And start page, how you want that set up. What do you want for your starting page? Do you want to search in the URL bar? And looking here under providers, there is a pretty big variety of search engines that you can use. So that's really nice on that. And some download options here. Appearances. There are two themes installed by default, and they're just GTK themes. But there are other themes that you can download from their homepage. And let's see if we go there. And where did I find it? I think downloads, extras, yeah, themes page. There we go. Looking here, there's a variety of themes that you can download and then install. But personally, I am more than happy with what we've got here. I think it's a nice clean theme, no reason to change it. We've got some options on how you want tabs to show up, some tools and how you want the URL displayed, that kind of thing. Some content controls here. Do you want to hide advertisements, prevent pop-ups, that sort of thing. Animation, what do you want your default fonts to be? And there's not much, but they've got a couple installed for you. The default font size, preferred language, got some privacy options, and some network options, and then for displaying PDF, some option there. And then coming up here, see there's not a whole lot of other stuff. You can go and zoom in and zoom out. We've got a full screen option, and I believe there we go, that gets it back. And you can look at your history, show your bookmarks, add bookmarks, show your downloads, show cookies, and then a couple of developer tools there. But for the most part, that is about it. And while I like the web browser as far as how it renders and whatnot, um, to me, there's not, comparing this to Midori, which I used last in the last video, I don't see an advantage of using this one over Midori. I liked Midori better. I was able to, it had more options for less memory. So, not that this is a bad browser, um, but I just think I got more for my memory buck out of Midori. But give it a try. Like I said, for with the exception of YouTube, everything seemed to work great on it. So, you know, definitely one to check out. All right, the next web browser that we're going to look at is Qupzilla, and this is one full-featured browser. Maybe it doesn't have the volume of extensions and whatnot that, say, Chromium or Firefox has, but as far as having every feature that your average user is going to use, it's there. And looking at this, we've got a real nice interface. It reminds me a lot of what Firefox used to look like, but cleaned up and modernized. Um, we've got a little bit of a toolbar here. We've got our address bar here, a little search bar here. Couple of different options that are set up by default as far as your search engine, but you click on manage search engine, you can add, subtract, set defaults, all that kind of stuff. And it supports multiple tabs. By default, the tabs are going to pop up above, in this bar right here. It has a speed dial page, which you can set that to be your default launching page. That might be convenient for you. And talking about options, if you come here to edit and preferences, that's where their options are. Ooh, let's click that. Oh, that's why. I had it over on the other page. You can see there's a lot of options here. And really not enough time in the review to go over every one of them, but you've got some general options here, appearance, a bunch of themes that are loaded by default, and I believe you can add more. There's other ones that you can download. If you come here to some advanced options as far as, do you want to show status bar, toolbar, whatever you want to show on start, that sort of thing. And then how you want the tabs to behave and how you want them to show, how you want them to behave, all that kind of stuff there. Some browsing options, local storage, the proxy configuration, options for fonts, font rendering, what size you want, that sort of thing, keyboard shortcuts, how we handle the downloads. We've got a password manager here, some privacy options, notifications, and here's our extensions. And for the most part, I don't have much set up right now. But you can come here then to WebKit plugins, and here's a click to flash plugin, which I thought was interesting. It's so that you can set it up so that it won't automatically load Flash. And then down here in others, we've got some language and manage search engines, how to use the style sheet, that sort of thing. As far as how well it works, it's relatively fast. Searching things, that pops up quick. Most web pages load quickly, and I think a lot of it depends on how quickly that loads. It's going to depend on Java and CSS of the page, that sort of thing, because that one took a little bit to load. Let's go to Wikipedia, and a little bit. It's definitely not as fast as say Dillo or Midori, but it's fairly quick. Um, Pages, as I've been playing around with it the past couple of days, most pages seem to load correctly without any problems. Let's see, let me find one that's going to have a lot of pictures. Yeah, I mean images are loading correctly and displaying correctly, so no issues as far as that goes. Like I said, not quite as fast as some of the other lightweight browsers we looked at, but it's fairly quick, and everything does seem to render. And like I said, lots of options there. Um, I mean, like even on your setting up the speed dial page, you've got a lot of options on the speed dial page. If you right click there, you can add a new page, configure speed dial so that you can set, how many pages in a row, center speed dials, change the size of pages. You can scroll it on down to, if you want to get a whole bunch in a row, or maybe for those of us that aren't quite as young as we used to be, we want it, up here. So we got some big icons to look at. But anyway, you configure that. You can configure, just about everything on here. So as far as being able to set it up just the way you want, a lot of options there. And I guess that's kind of about it about this one. It seems to be real nice general purpose browser. Doesn't have all of those the extensions that work as applications, or even the web apps like Firefox and Chrome have. But for web browsing, cruising the internet, watching YouTube, that kind of thing, this thing works just fine. And speaking of YouTube, let me go to YouTube. Just because some of the other browsers we looked at, they didn't render YouTube correctly, or the videos correctly. But there we go, official site. But no trouble here with getting YouTube to render. Takes a second for Flash to load, but beyond that, everything on there seems to work fine as far as watching YouTube videos and all that. So definitely a nice browser. And kind of looking at the memory footprint there, of the ones that we've looked at, of the lightweights, I guess you could say, it is the heaviest, so it would stand to reason that it's got the most options and that sort of thing. Looking at these various the lightweights that we've been looking at, I've got to say that my favorite has been Midori. I do have Dillo installed and been using that regularly just because of the speed of it. But as I talked about in the previous video, Dillo doesn't always render things correctly. In fact, most of the time it doesn't render correctly. But if you're just looking at text-only pages, it's fine. And since most of the time when I'm doing research, I'm not too concerned with images, that's not a big deal. Midori tended to render everything correctly and yet allowed me to watch YouTube videos. Still fairly quick, not quite as fast as Dillo, but fairly quick. None of these that I looked at, Dillo, Midori, Netsurf, Qupzilla, all of them were good web browsers. They weren't glitchy and crashed and all that sort of thing. But Netsurf, we could not look at YouTube videos, so that was a downer for that one. Dillo, like we said, it for a lot of sites it does not render correctly. Midori seemed to do everything you want, but you're very limited on extensions. There's only a few, but for general browsing, general purpose work, it seemed to be the best balance of features, memory, and speed. Qupzilla, at least as far as the lightweights go, it had the most options and was the most customizable. So a lot of it comes down to what you're looking for. But every one of them, is lighter than either Firefox or Chrome/Chromium, which are the probably the most commonly used browsers. But that being said, that finishes up this video. Hope that you've enjoyed it. Give us a big old thumbs up if you liked it. Be sure to subscribe if you are not a subscriber, and I will see you on the next video. Thanks a lot.